Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my take on the March 1st, 2018 full moon in Virgo. Well, first up is as far as this goes, a full moon in astrology can represent the culmination or end of something. It could be at a period where we become really tired and exasperated of a situation where we become full, I guess you could say, of it, so to speak. It could really be a very powerful outpouring of emotions and very uninhibited, unrestrained emotional expression. And given that this emotional energy is just so prodigious and powerful and so strong, I think there can be a greater propensity for accidents during this time than usual given Virgo, perhaps ones that are related to work. Or anything with service or work, and even work doing something health related, such as working out vigorously. I would be careful during this time. You got all this emotional energy, and such as lifting, bench pressing more than you can handle, not having a spotter, and having the weights come down on you, something like that, for as an example. Now, anyway, you might see quote unquote loony behavior a little bit more than usual at this time. Now, people that have the sun, moon, or ascendant in Virgo or Cancer may be strongly impacted and affected by this full moon, but it can collectively impact and affect everybody. Now, Cancer can be very sensitive to phases of the moon, and regardless of the sign it's in. I mean, given that the moon does rule Cancer, perhaps this can be at least somewhat attributed to why Cancer, the zodiac sign Cancer, can be so downright fickle, temperamental, and changeable. Now, given that this full moon is in Virgo, perhaps you might see more people becoming very annoyed and exasperated at a work-related or service-related situation. And you're going to, just in general, you're going to see probably likely more people will feel like going more public than usual, and being more extroverted and gregarious than usual. And of course, this will be more noticeable if, just to people that you're accustomed to being more introverted, introspective, and have a very introverted chart, such as having a majority of their planets or preponderance of planets in houses 1 through 6 on the bottom half of the chart, and say they have an introverted ascendant as well. So anyway, and going back to this full moon in Virgo, this is something where at this time, people can become strongly exasperated at people or a person that may be overly pedantic, judgmental, and critical. Now, at the same time, this could be a time for many to let out a prodigious amount of emotion, and perhaps done with a lot of this critical and judgmental Virgo energy. And this could also be related, really, or I should say, should be something where something comes, work-related thing maybe comes to a culmination, and something where a project that one may have been really where it required a lot of being very punctilious with details could come to an end, and even something that required a lot of editing, correction, revision, something health-related, a fitness goal, and perhaps a health-related issue may come to a culmination or a conclusion. And also, some may become tired and full of their health insurance coverage, and it may come to an end at this point in time. And also, you might see more people than usual have a very powerful, like this emotional need for health, for fitness, nutrition, to be clean, to organize things that are disheveled, just for good scrupulous behavior, being punctuality, being more meticulous, very detail oriented, maybe more emphasizing extrapolation of data, analyzing and criticizing. Now, you might see more people go public with some health idea or product at this time as well. This also could be propitious perhaps for people that are in Virgo related fields, such as nutritionists, data analysts, statisticians, physicians, professional organizers even. And you might see more people than usual at this time being inundated with more work assignments, cleaning, and exercising. And given this full moon in Virgo will be at 11 degrees. Now, based on Sabian symbols, which I do believe in, this can suggest perhaps after finishing some work-related project that one might work vigorously on, which may lead to some, of course, some monetary gain and profit. People need to be careful of duplicitous and deceptive friends that may attempt to capitalize on this. And also, as far as the full moon in Virgo goes, it's important to look at the house that this falls in the natal chart, as of course this could impact the delineation. Now, in mine is going to fall in the 5th house. So perhaps as an example, what could happen with me, it might be something that may come to an end for me, or a culmination. It might be associated with some kind of intellectual, analytical enjoyment or amusement, and something associated perhaps with extrapolation of data. And given the 5th house, perhaps even something sports related, such as projecting stats and numbers for sports players. Now, it's also important to look at the aspects as well that this makes to points in your natal chart, as this of course could impact the interpretation a little and the delineation of this. Now mine is going to make a square to my natal moon in Gemini. So this indicates perhaps I might be subject to an abundance of criticism from the public and or prominent women in my life that might cause this very strong, like animated, like in manifold Gemini emotions to come out. And situations with those closer to me may be a little bit more contentious because of this aspect. And it might be tied in, connected with harsh Gemini witticisms and Virgo criticisms. So anyway, and another aspect that it's going to make, and it's interesting as far as a point, to a natal point in my chart, is it's going to, a positive aspect it's going to make is going to sextile my sun in Cancer. Now, this could indicate or suggest perhaps that powerful emotional need for something work-related in industry, which is the moon and full moon Virgo, could have a very good blending, perhaps with the Cancer sun basic wants for a home, as an example. And the thing about this too is it's also important, significant to look at the aspects this makes electionally, and really as this could impact delineation as well. And also these aspects, of course, they will become more intensified because they will be coming simultaneously when you're having this full moon in Virgo. Now, what's interesting is you're going to have the full moon in Virgo is going to make an opposition to Neptune at this time. So there could be very strong, prodigious, as an example, strong, prodigious public criticism of those that want to be healthy, perhaps. And it may be more, people may be more opposed to alcohol and recreational drugs than usual. You might have more of this argument, maybe perhaps over about marijuana being legalized. I wouldn't be surprised if you see more talk and debate on this than usual at this time, because you might have the argument whether it's actually healthy or not for people. And of course, Neptune is associated with drugs, so recreational drugs. Anyway, another thing that's interesting, you're going to have on this day, Jupiter will trine Venus as well. So for many, perhaps after completing something that required this Virgo-like laborious, industrious effort, might be in a situation where they could possibly find a significant other. And you're going to have Jupiter in Scorpio, of course, the sign of transformation, will trine Venus in idealistic Pisces, of course, in its exaltation. So this could be auspicious, very well auspicious for doing so and using that Pisces idealism for reaching for the stars, so to speak, in terms of finding that elusive love for those that are unattached and do not have a significant other. So this could also be very beneficial for coming into money. And also maybe perhaps via inheritances, mattered with shared others' resources, of course, connected with Scorpio, after a worrisome Virgo period comes to a conclusion. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the March 1st, 2018 full moon in Virgo. And stay tuned next time, where I'm going to be giving you my take on the recent Parkland, Florida shooting. Anyway, people, two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.